All right, welcome, welcome. So today I brought my Sunday's best. So those of you watching, I know that a lot of you watch this later. In case you don't know, I am an evangelist and I get to preach and share my story, and all over the world, literally. But lately, I've been all over the United States, and I have the here in our church where we're having this class right now. Simultaneously, we have a Spanish service going on in our church. So then they invited me to go share my story. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my story tonight. But I wanted to introduce the speaker for tonight, and I wanted to have that privilege. And so here we go. Let's go ahead and start with our normal introduction. Welcome to the Choose a Change 90-Day Reentry Program. And by the way, I'm going to get started on this 90-day process again in the next week or so. If you're a visitor or new to this program, we welcome you, and we are glad that you are here. Many of us walked into these rooms not sure of what to expect, but many of us stayed because we saw real people with real problems who had real hope. This 90-day reentry program is a self-supporting group supported by the Choose a Change Foundation. There is no dues or fees to attend this class. But we do encourage donations, which we'll pass around a donation bucket today from our members and to anyone who believes in what we do. The only requirements for membership into this class is a sincere desire. That's it. A sincere desire to change. So if you're here and you're ready to change your life, then you're in the right place. Through this program, you will learn the tools and the resources to finally change your life forever, and a relationship-based support system, not only this class, but also our church, to keep you going. For many of us, there is no easy way out of the mess that we created in our lives, even if it wasn't our fault. The good news is that there is a way out, which was awesome for me. When I found out there was a way out, I said, "Man, praise God! I'm going." There's a way out if you choose to believe in the impossible. 27 years ago, you'll hear me say this over and over again, but there's always new people coming in. There's always people watching new. But I've been doing this for 27 years ago. I found myself in a loser situation, a loser father, a loser husband, a loser son, a loser drug addict, and wanted to kill my worthless self. 27 years ago, that's where I found myself, on my way to prison for the rest of my life. That was crazy. It was insane. Never thought that I'd be standing before you 27 years later. I couldn't even see it. Can't even dream of it. Couldn't even fathom it. You hear me, brother? Couldn't even fathom it. That's where you're going. But there's a lot of things that we got to go through in order to get here. And today I'm wearing a suit because I'll be preaching next door here. I just wanted to come in here to this evening to introduce the speaker, which is a very special friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. He's one of our pastors. He's our youth pastor here in McAllen. And so I'm fortunate to be able to do what I do because I have men like him who are pastors and who have great influence and can really encourage and inspire a people through his word and through his preaching. And I wanted to come and introduce him personally. So then, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk out that door right there and go preach in the Spanish church. So it's awesome. I live an awesome life, guys, but I didn't get there overnight. It's a process. And that's what we teach in this class. So in the meantime, help me. I'll be here next week. And I don't know if we'll start next week or the following week, but we will start the new series or the new 90-day process or back into what we do in here, the 7 major keys to life change. So with no further ado, help me welcome Pastor Jeremy Moreno.
Thank you, Orlando. It's always great to have him here, and it's a privilege and an honor for me when he asks me if I can come be with y'all. I don't take it lightly. I enjoy it. And I know that he wouldn't just have anybody in here. It's only people he trusts. Amen. And I got to spend a lot of up close and personal time with Orlando. So much so that I think I was getting on his nerves. He went to go visit me when I was pastoring in Mexico as a missionary in Merida. And he was there day and night. I had to be with him in a little car. And so either he loved me or hated me. So I don't know which one, but we had a good time. I want to minister tonight. I always think about Choose a Change, this program we're in, about decisions you make. How many know you want to make a decision to change? Nobody can make you. They've tried, right? How many have ever tried to change someone else? It's hard, right? Your spouse, your family member, your friend. And how many know it's hard for them to change us? They can cry to us, they can force us, they can punish us, but at the end, the one who decides to change is ourselves. Now, we're here because we want to change, or we've started to change, or we're on a path of change. But my question to you is, at one point or another, we're all going in a certain direction, we're all making decisions, we're all headed somewhere, and then something begins to happen to us. We begin to kind of level off. We begin to kind of, as we say in our circles, right? Begin to pump the brakes. Wait, you're going too fast. Slow down. And instead of reaching our goal, something happens to the point or to the effect where we don't continue that change, or we fall back to who we used to, or we go into old habits or old ways of thinking. And many times we have to stop and think, how did I end up here? What happened? How did I go back to what I was doing? Why did I fall off? What happened to my willpower? What happened to the path I was on? And my question to you, which is the title of what I want to minister here, is who is stopping you? Who is stopping you? Are there people in your life stopping you from continuing? Is it the habits that you formed that have stopped you? Is it yourself? Is it your mindset? Because we can begin to get to a point in our life where we see nothing but negative or nothing but the bad in our life, and we say, I can't go on. Like Orlando was saying earlier, he said 27 years ago, he was in jail. His life was headed nowhere. He had no idea he can reach this point, right? He had lost everything. We can get in a mindset where it doesn't matter what I do, I'm still going to fail. You ever thought that? No matter what I do, I always end up in the same place or worse. Every time I try to advance, Pastor, every time I try to make a little money, every time I try to put something away for savings, every time I make some good decisions, it doesn't end up well. So why even try? Can we be honest right now? Raise your hand if you've ever given up on yourself. You've given up on changing yourself. That's all of us. Why? Because it's hard. If it was easy, then everybody would be great. If it was easy, then we'd all be able to continue in the path. But there has to come a point in time where you begin to identify the things that are stopping you. Because if you don't identify them, how can you stop them? Who is stopping you? I want to read a portion of scripture with you before I move on so I can get into this. Galatians 5. And we're going to be reading 1 through 10 in the New Living Translation. Galatians 5, 1 through 10 in the New Living Translation. I'm going to read it to you. It says, so Christ has truly set us free. Now make sure that you stay free and don't get tied up again in slavery to the law. Let's stop there. Jesus is saying here, or Paul is saying, hey, we all came to Jesus with addictions, with problems, with bad habits. How many have bad habits? We come to Jesus and it says he can set us free, right? We come into a place, we surround ourselves with people, we become free. But then it says, now make sure that you stay free. He says there's going to be things and people and time and situations that will pull you back into not being free anymore. Make sure you stay free. Don't get tied up again in slavery to the law. Listen. I, Paul, tell you this. If you're counting on circumcision to make you right with God, then Christ will be of no benefit to you. I'll say it again. If you're trying to find favor with God by being circumcised, you must obey every regulation in the whole law of Moses. He's talking about the Jewish laws that you had to be circumcised to be right. But he's saying in verse 4, for if you're trying to make yourself right with God by keeping the law, then you have been cut off from Christ. You have fallen away from God's grace. But we who live by the Spirit eagerly wait to receive by faith the righteousness God has promised us. For when we place our faith in Jesus Christ, there is no benefit in being circumcised or being uncircumcised. What is important is faith expressing itself in love. And this is what I want to get to. Verse 7, listen. He's telling everybody, you were running the race so well. You were doing good. Who has held you back from following the truth? Who has stopped you from continuing the path that you were going, the straight path that you were headed to? Who stopped you? Who was it? What was it? Verse 8, it certainly isn't God, for he is the one who called you to freedom. The false teaching is like a little yeast that spreads throughout the whole batch of dough. I am trusting the Lord to keep you from believing false teachings. God will judge that person, whoever he is, who has been confusing you. I want to look at, first of all, no more bondage. When we look at our life, we must see that there are things that grab our attention, that grab our time. There's things that we are attracted to, right? There's things that we will spend our money on, spend our time on. There's things that we like. And if we're not careful, when we don't have a balance, those things can begin to control our lives. We can become what we call addicted or obsessed or consumed by those things. It can be drugs, alcohol. It could be a relationship. It can be a person. It can be, bad habits that we have, bad character flaws. One of the things that I really dislike when people say, or one of the things that I've come in my life to understand that people shouldn't say is, oh, it's because that's just the way I am. That's just how it is. That's how I was born. Can I tell you that no matter how you act and no matter how things make you feel, you can always control and change how you are, how you act around people? We see this more in marriages. When there's something broken in a marriage, they're just always fighting, always, little things become these huge issues. There's fighting. It can become aggressive and violent and all these things inside of a marriage. And you say, well, it's just, that's the way she is, or that's the way I am. We can never change. That's a lie. Anybody and everybody is capable of changing. There's nothing that you were born into or born doing that you can't change. And most of our behaviors are learned. Most, right? Some of them you're born with it. That's just, honestly, that's how we're born. That's what your predisposition is to. But that doesn't mean you have to stay that way. Nobody is condemned to live a life bound to their emotions or their actions. We can all change. The only thing is you have to choose, right? Hence the name where we're at. Choose to change. You choose it. It's not about if I can or if I really want to. We always have that. When I talk to people, especially in the position I am in church, when you talk to people and I start telling them, you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't talk this way. You know what the answers I get most of the time? I know. I know, Pastor. Yeah. That's what they tell me. In my head, I'm saying, well, if you know, why don't you do anything about it? Why are you here? What are you talking to me for? If you already know what I'm going to tell you, if you already know what's wrong, if you've already identified where you're lacking or where something's wrong, it's not just enough. I know it. I recognize it. What are you doing about it? What decisions have you made to change it? In Galatians 5:1, what we just read, it says, so Christ has truly set us free. Now make sure that you stay free and don't get tied up again in slavery. In other words, when we become aware and we do want to change and we come to Christ and we say, God, I need your help. I've tried my way. I've tried so many books. I've tried standing on my head for 5 hours, see if that changed things around. I've tried therapy. I've tried drugs. I've tried everything. When we come to Christ and we begin to experience what Christ has to offer, which is freedom, right? The Bible says where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So Jesus sets us free. But that doesn't mean, oh, that's it, I made it. Whew, I'm glad I came to this church. I'm glad I came to this program. Now I'm free. No, it says now make sure that you stay free. Make sure that you are beginning to, to change who you are. How many here have ever got into an argument with somebody and they apologize to you and you point out what they need to change and the next day they actually change it? Has that ever happened to you? But let's be honest, how long did that last? Maybe that day, right? Maybe if they're really, really sorry, it lasts a week. But then next thing you know, they're back to their old ways. Or even vice versa, us. How many of us, someone has talked to us about a problem we have, a flaw we have. Hey, you know what? You need to change. Hey, you know what? You're right. And we go back and we try to change, right? We wake up and we say, you know what? This time I'm really going to take out the trash like they've been asking me to for months. This time I'm really going to, I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to allow things to get me so riled up, and I'm going to change. And we want to. We see the benefits of changing. We see that they're asking us how better it could be if we just changed. It's not that we're bad people. We don't want to change. It's just we stop. We give up. Something happened. It's too hard. It's just she's asking too much. He's asking too much. The human nature is to be free, right? If there's something in common that all across every nation and every race of people, what they have in common is they want freedom, right? That's why when there's dictators and there's all of these wars, right? Even in the United States, we were born out of a desire for freedom, right? Back in 1776, don't mean to go all history on you, but in 1776, the 13 colonies of the United States signed the Declaration of Independence from Great Britain. They signed it before they were even free. Did you know that? They signed it, 56 men signed the historic document, knowing full well that if they were caught, they would be put to death. They said, we want to be free so bad, we're willing to put our life on the line. Are you willing to be free from those things that have you bound? Are you so willing, so desperate to be free that you're willing to put your life on the line for that? The famous saying that one of the men there said is, give me liberty or give me death. In other words, or I'm free or kill me. What if we had that attitude about our life? Give me freedom or give me death. I don't want to go back to who I was. I don't want to go back to the same old. I know myself. I tell my wife all the time, you don't want me to leave church. You don't want me to go away from God, because me without God is not a good person. I won't be the same, because I only am who I am through Jesus Christ. If I go back to who I was or who I could be, it's not a good scene. And I know it. That's why I stay in God, because without him, I'd be a really bad person. If you know that about yourself, if you know what you're capable of, are you fighting to stay free? Are you fighting to change? It's not just choosing it. Anybody could. We all want to choose. We all want to be different, change and advance. I want to grow. I want to have a business one day. I want this. I want that. We all want things, but what are you doing to get there? What decisions, what steps are you doing to get there? And I'm not talking about just making, connections and marketing and, PR. I'm talking about you personally. What are you changing about yourself? It's a fight. How many have ever been in a fight before? The guy's not gonna, that's all mad, wait, hold on. Let me tie my shoe, Wait, hold on. I forgot my knife in the car. When you're fighting, it's either that guy's out or you're out, right? There is no middle ground. It's the same thing. If you want to really change, if you want to really make it, you have to understand that at points in your life, it's going to be a fight to be able to go forward. And either the change wins or your old ways win. It's either you and who you want to be or you and who you used to be. There's nothing that can stop you from changing except yourself. Your biggest enemy is not your spouse. Your biggest enemy is not people, the ops, the opposition, the haters. How many have haters? Can we be honest or no? Not everybody likes us, right? No, Pastor, I'm an angel. Well, it's not what I heard. I'm just kidding. I haven't heard anything. But not even them. Can I tell you this? Not even the devil is your greatest enemy. Pastor, what do you mean? He's my friend. No, he's not your friend either, but he's not your greatest enemy. The greatest enemy that we have, does anybody want to guess? Is ourselves. Nobody can hurt your life as much as yourself. Nobody can ruin things in your life as bad as your decisions can ruin your own life. People from the outside can't ruin your life like you can. I remember talking to my wife about this. We were missionaries in Mexico, and we were talking about how it was when we first got married. Because me and my wife got married when she was 18, I was 19. So you can imagine what a great, beautiful, awesome marriage we had the first couple years. There was actually Orlando one time went to my house to help me move out of a apartment I had, and right on the bedroom right there was a nice, beautiful, big hole that I had punched a hole through, right? And Orlando's staring at it. He goes, "Wow, brother, there's interesting things here." I said, "Yes, Orlando, very interesting. Now, how do I patch that up?" That's interesting. So anyway, the point is our marriage was not very good. We were two young teenagers, independent teenagers trying to come together. It was chaos. It was horrible. You didn't want to be there. There was craziness all the time. But we were there and as missionaries in Mexico, and some things were happening. People were coming against us. And I was commenting to my wife. I said, "Look how they're talking about you. They're doing this to me. And if anything, people on the outside coming against us has caused us to be stronger, to be more united. It's you and me versus the world, baby." Right? I said, but back in McAllen, when we were growing up, our marriage was horrible. I hated you. You hated me. I'm punching holes in the wall. I can tell you how bad it was getting. I said, when we were making the decisions, we tore apart our family. People on the outside can't destroy us. In fact, when they come against us, they make us stronger. Nobody can destroy what you've built better than you can. Not the people against you or around you. It's not your boss. It's not your coworkers that are trying to take you out. No, the one that can cause the most damage is your own decisions, your own habits, your own character, your own decisions, your own faults, impulses, and your selfishness. All that can destroy you worse than anything else. The devil himself can come to your door and not cause as much damage as you yourself can. I want to look at secondly, when we fall from grace. Have you ever heard that term, fall from grace? It means when you've come down, when you used to be at a certain place, but instead of going forward, you fell backwards. Falling from grace means you took some steps back. Can I tell you that everybody in this room has at one point or another in their life, in one or two areas of their life or all of their areas, have taken steps backwards instead of forwards. We've all fallen from grace. We've all been at a place where, we made the wrong choice. In our text here in Galatians, Paul is speaking to a people who had already placed their trust in Jesus. He had already, they had already begun to give up their old life and give up their habits and follow Jesus. They were beginning to put their life in order, but then they started getting influenced. Something else had happened. Hey, Paul is writing this letter because they were off course, and he's writing it saying, hey, what happened? Who's stopping you from going forward? Who's at fault? What's going on? Why haven't you gotten where you're going? What's going on? Galatians 5:3 says, and I'll say it again, if you are trying to find favor with God by being circumcised, you must obey every regulation in the whole law of Moses. For if you're trying to make yourselves right with God by keeping the law, you have been cut off from Christ. You have fallen away from God's grace. In other words, he's saying, you've fallen from grace. Why? I think we do need to look at a couple of things that can cause us to get off the path. Number one, the people around us. There's an old story. I don't know if you've heard it. It says one day there was a farmer who grabbed his shotgun to shoot at a flock of pesky crows. Those crows kept coming in and tearing up his stuff, messing with his crops. So he had a shotgun and he sees the crows coming down. He gets it. And what does he do like a good old farmer? Blast them away, right? Shotgun shot, boom, kill some of them. Some of them fly away. He did it to scare them. As he approaches, unfortunately, he didn't see that one of his parrots had joined the crowd. After he goes and walks over, he had fired a few shots. He goes over and he starts seeing the crows. In the midst, he sees his parrot with a badly broken wing. When the farmer's children saw the injured bird, they started crying and they came up and they said, Dad, let's save him. When they see the wife came home and she said, hey, what happened? Why is he injured? What's going on? And the farmer looked at his wife and said, he was in bad company. How many know you and I can be in bad company sometimes? And being in bad company can cause us to go off in the wrong direction. When you're going on a path, when you're making these decisions, when you're trying to do good and do better, one of the things that can hinder you is the people that you surround yourself with, the people that you listen to, the people that you hang out with, the people that you trust in, the people that you look up to. Why do we even use that phrase, people you look up to? Because it's somebody that you're watching how they live, you're watching how they act, how they talk, and you want to begin to imitate it. You want to begin to be like them. So who do you look up to? Who are your role models? Who are people around you that you associate yourself with, that you want to be in their presence? Where are they taking you? Who has hindered you? Orlando told y'all that I'm the youth pastor here, so I deal with a lot of the teenagers, and I tell them the same thing. The people around you will either encourage you and build you up to where you want to be, or they'll pull you back and tear you down from where you already are. There's only two options. The people around you matter. Doesn't matter if you're a leader, if you're strong-willed. It doesn't matter if you are the social one, you're the social butterfly. All of us, deep down inside, are influenced by people around us. Who has hindered you? Who is stopping you? The first thing, right, obviously, is who we're around. Number two, the second thing that can cause us to fall off from where we're at is what we listen to. What voices do you listen to? What do you hear? I just had a conversation with somebody and they were saying it's been months already that this person has been talking to me, and they're just saying their life is horrible. Their life is horrible, and their marriage is horrible, and their job sucks, and just all these things. And at first, I listened to him, man. Pray, ask God to get you out of it. Let's believe, start fasting, start change. And then as I began to months go by, I began to see their life. I said, hey, wait a minute. Your job pays pretty good. In fact, your job pays more than my job. So let's scratch that off the list, because he would say, oh, I don't make enough. And then we're going down the list. Hey, you're healthier than I am. We went to the gym and you're lifting more than I am. Scratch that off the list, And we just started going down things, and I had to talk to him. I talked to him last week, and I said, hey, man, something's wrong. Because I look at your life and I compare it to mine, and your life is actually better than mine. Why is it so negative in your eyes? What's going on? Why are you not happy? What? And as I began to talk to him, he began to say, well, it's because that's what my family's telling me, that I should be higher, that I should be better, that I should be further along. At my age, they had this, or at my age, I should have that. And so I look at my life and it's nothing, and I don't have anything, and everything's horrible. And I said, you need to be careful what you're listening, what you're believing, because now he has a lens. Now he, in his own mind, began to see his marriage as the worst marriage, began to see his job as the worst job, and everything around him was tainted with the filter of negativity. Even though his life, actually, when you look at it, was a good life. He has a good job. He had a good marriage. He's in good health. He can enjoy what he's doing. But because his mind has heard so much negative, his own words to his life, about his life, are negative, everything was bad. And I couldn't get him out of it. No, you don't understand. It's horrible. I wish I had that job. How about the people that don't have any jobs? Don't have anywhere to live. Don't have any family. Well, yeah, but you're just saying that. What are you listening to? What are you hearing? What do you say about your own life? Let's be honest. Can our life be better? I think every single person here can say, yeah, my life could be better. But can you look at your life and say, hey, there's still good here? I can enjoy certain things. I enjoy coming home to my family. I enjoy, my health, my life, my job, my spouse. Could I be better? Yes. Could they be better? Could things be better? Yes. But as of right now, as we continue the road to be better, I want to enjoy it. Don't let the negativity stop you. Don't let the negativity take you out. I was sharing this story with the teenagers here at church. Every year we do a 5K for our boot camp that we send our teens to. And I remember one year, this was years ago, I was in high school. One of my high school mates was there. And, he wasn't normally a runner. In our church we have some runners that they run fast. Actually, Orlando's son, Ozzy, is one of the fastest that we have. Or he was, I don't know about now, but he's pretty fast. So all the fast people get in the front, then the second to fast, then the medium, then the slow, and then the people that just walk are at the end, right? So everybody's lined up according to, you know yourself, you know where you're going to put yourself. And I remember this guy, he's in the very front. He's a big, tall guy. He was a big guy. And he's in the front with the fast guys. I'm like, wow, okay, maybe he's been training, And I'm in the middle. I know myself. I'm not slow. I'm not walking, but I ain't going to be winning like these other people. So I'm there. I got my headphones. And then all of a sudden, they shoot the gun and it takes off. And that guy is in front of everybody. He just runs in front of Brian, in front of Victor. I'm like, wow, this man, he just takes off. And then he disappears around the corner. So I'm jogging. And then the regular guys that are fast are going. And then next thing you know, I round another corner and somebody that they used to pass us waters. Somebody passed me water. They're like, man, you think he might win? Look how fast he's going. And I started laughing. I was like, no, I don't think he can win. He can't keep that up. That's crazy. I've never seen him run. Maybe he's been training secretly, but he's not normally a runner. So anyway, we keep running. The next thing you know, I get lapped by one of the fast guys. Boom, he laps me. I was like, dang, you ain't got to do me like that. Like, come on. But that told me, hey, so if he's first, where's that other guy? I hadn't seen him. And everybody's going. I was on my third lap when out of nowhere I turned one of the corners, and there on the ground on his hands and knees is this guy throwing up. And I run to him, hey, are you okay, bro? He's like, yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I say, where are you been this whole time? He's like, I haven't seen you. He ran so fast, right? Like he was going to win the whole thing. But he's out of shape. He's not normally like that. So he said he started losing his wind. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to drink a Monster. So he ran to his car, got a Monster, chugged it, and then ran again to the point where he felt so dizzy. He got on the floor, and that's when I saw him. He was throwing up. He didn't even finish the race. From there, he just got in his car and left. Didn't even finish the laps, right? And I just remember that story because we can look at people that start off so strong and be like, dang, I can never be like that guy. I'm not as fast as him. I'll never reach to him. And I'm just keeping my little pace, that I got. Getting lapped by the guy, But at the end, the fast guy that took off like crazy, he didn't even finish. And the guy like me that's just going normal, just chilling. I didn't win first place, but at least I finished, It just goes to show you're in your own lane. Where you're at right now, God is working in you. God has something special. God has something designed. God is taking things for you. He's placing things for you. Don't compare yourself to other people. You're at where you're at because God has you there. And until you learn and develop the things that God has for you, then you'll go to the next level. There is no rushing. There is no shortcuts. There is no bribing God to get ahead. When you begin to make your decisions and steps to go forward, God will bless you and you'll be advancing. But you can't look at people way ahead and causing them, their success to be the reason why you stop. You can't let other people's victories cause you defeat. You can't let other people's success be a reason why you quit. Galatians 5:7 says, you were running the race so well. Who has held you back? Who is causing you to quit? I think we need to come back to this point right here. We have old ideas that begin to come out. Old habits, old ways of thinking, old ways of operating. I remember I worked at a restaurant one time, and one of the guys came into work as a dishwasher, and he hated it. He hated working as a dishwasher. And so when I was a waiter, so that I come in for the orders, and sometimes we had free time, so I go to the kitchen. I'd be hanging out there to eat, right? And the guy would come out from the dishwashing area, and he'd be like, "Bro, I used to sell keys, bro. I used to make trips to Chicago. I used to do." And I'm like, dang, I'm interested, right? I'm hearing all these crazy stories about his drug dealing days and stuff. And he's like, and now look at me, I'm washing dishes. He hated it. And he would always say, man, if I could just do one more load. If I could just do it. And I was like, bro, don't do it. You're finally out. You're doing good. Like, just hang in there. Things will come up. It's hard when you're used to something. When you're used to reacting a certain way, when you're used to talking a certain way, it's hard to change. Even when you're trying, it's easier to go back. We're comfortable in who we used to be, right? We're creatures of comfort. We like comfortable. We don't like new. We don't like change, right? How do I know? Because when your phone updates, how many people hate that? Oh, my phone, I don't even know how to use this stupid thing. Well, you take some time to learn. It's actually good for you. You're going to find out good things. But we don't like change. I think we need to pray this prayer like Ezekiel in Ezekiel 36, verses 26 and 27. It says, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you will keep my judgments and do them. In other words, God is saying, even if you're so set in your ways like a rock, if you really want to change, I can help you change. Even if you're hard-headed. You ever called somebody hard-headed? My grandma's favorite word was that. Cabezón. What did she say? Cerebro de piedras. That's kind of messed up. I don't think about it. God is saying, even somebody who's hard-headed, even somebody who's hard-hearted, who's hardened by life, hardened by situations, hardened by their circumstances, if you really want to change, I can give you a new heart. I can give you a new mind. And you're going to make it. You won't stop. You'll keep going. But don't go back to the old ways. What is calling you out? What is attracting you? Who is calling you? Who is attracting you? Because at the end of the day, we need to go forward. We can't be distracted by the things on the side. I want to finish off here with stand fast. And I use that term because that's what the Bible says in Galatians 5:1 in the New King James Version. It says, stand fast, therefore, in the liberty which Christ has made us free. Stand fast is a military position, is a military term. In the old days, back in the Bible days, the soldiers used to have, right, a shield. They'd have a sword or a lance or another weapon in their hand. And the command when there was an enemy approaching was stand fast. And stand fast meant you had to hold your position. They would usually hold it and put their shield out, and they'd all stand side to side. You remember watching the movie 300 where they all put their shields together? That was the order, stand fast. And what it really meant is don't nobody retreat. Nobody go back. Nobody move. Stand fast. And that's what Paul is saying here. Hey, when it comes to decisions in your life, when it comes to where you want to go, if you don't stand fast, if you don't hold the position, you're going to end up retreating. You're going to end up going backwards. You're going to end up taking steps backwards when you should either hold or go forward. Can you hold fast? Can you continue changing? Can you continue in the path that you've chosen? Or are you stopping right there? Or worse, are you going backwards? At the end of Paul's life, he said this famous scripture, 2 Timothy 4:7. He said, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Can we say the same in our journey? Have you, or are you right now fighting the good fight? Are you trying to finish the race? And are you keeping your faith? Because at the end of the day, that's what we need. We need to fight. We need to continue in the race. And we need to keep our faith. Because at the end of the day, all we have is God on our side. Not many people we can count on that won't let us down, but we can count on God to get us to the end. Change is possible. The goal that you have in mind is possible. You can reach it. There's others who have reached it. Remember that dishwasher I was telling you about? He owns his own business now. He's married. He has a kid. And he's in church. And I still remind him once in a while about those dishes. He goes, I don't even wash dishes at home. I said, good for you, bro. Good for you. Because he was able to change. He didn't go back to what he was, to what he was used to doing. He stayed straight and he said, God, you're going to have to get me there. And now he has his own business. There's so much that God has for you. There's so much that God wants to do in you, in your family, in your marriage, in your kids, in your life. But you have to continue believing in Him and don't give up. Don't let anyone stop you. Don't let yourself stop you. Don't get out of the race. Keep going forward. Never go back to who you used to be. Amen. That's all I have this evening for you. Is there any questions, any comments, last thoughts, anything you'd like to share this moment about how hard it is? Nobody? All right, I'm going to give it over to Brother Frank. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you, Pastor Jeremy. That was great. Let's give him a round of applause. Now we're gonna take up an offering. If you want to give, if it's in your heart to give, give. You don't have to. Eduardo Chavarria is gonna pass the bucket. Next week we'll have Orlando Salinas back here. Yes or no? Yes. Yes. He'll be back here, and he's gonna be starting in a few weeks the 90-day program again, and that's always fun to start over again and see who takes it. And this has been a great day. We'll say goodbye. We'll see you next week. Same choose to change time. Same choose to change channel.